up for facing the hard stuff from Bestgrove, and he got a changeup at 2 strikes. He walked back to the bench and said, "Did none of you guys think to tell me that he's got a changeup too?"
It would have been nice information to have.
That would have been good, wouldn't it? And Jack Bestgrove indeed has got all the pitches, and we'll talk over the course of the evening as the presumptive world number 1. I think it's safe to say,
yes,
top guy in the
I would
world.
think so, yep.
And it's the movement on his pitches, and it's the late movement too.
The late movement just before the plate.
It breaks up, it breaks down, but it also moves laterally. And it's only a special few guys who have got that kind of movement on their pitches.
The first time I saw him, probably 3 years ago or 2 years ago now, I guess. I just kind of described it as explosive. It just kind of moved just before the plate. The movement was just unbelievable.
This one is lifted way up on the infield. Matt Harrell will rotate out onto the grass and haul that one in short right field. That's pretty tricky out there, Joe. The wind is swirling just a little bit left to right from left field out to right field. And that's a good play out there by Matt Harrell. And, of course, there's a name with plenty of softball lineage. His dad, the Harrow Shield, is named after his grandfather. His father, Lang, a longtime coach of this program, as well as the Aussie Spirit, the women's side. And they're from Milverton area. That's why the Aussie Steelers are always up here.
Yeah, they came up along, I'm thinking 90s sometime? 90s or early 2000s.
Bruno Matroni, the now retired captain of the Argentina national team, chases after the rise ball up and off the plate. Bruno, 39, still playing on the club circuit with the Chiefs. Comes in batting a lofty .438. And this one back into the screen.
9:06 Saturday morning in Australia, so I'm sure we got lots of listeners back home.
And even viewers.
Viewers, yes. That was back in the old ballpark radio days.
Yeah, you are in the way back
I'm
machine.
aging myself.
You are, indeed. Well, welcome aboard to everybody from Australia. Bruno lifts this one out to left. Kyle Molander will settle under that one. And for the Chiefs, they will strand that leadoff single here in the top of the first inning. We'll go to the home half with the Aussie Steelers coming to the plate.
Running the game now. Foot on the gas, get slowed down. No. Against me, that's a long shot. Cause the kind of wins all around the clock. Never doubt me, boy, I don't stop. Watch the game change. Watch the game change. Watch the game change.
Welcome to Mont Hill Golf and Country Club. With our beautiful 27-hole golf course open to the public, we work tirelessly to ensure your time with us is second to none. Well, here you'll be able to enjoy an incredible dining experience at our very own Big Pete's Steakhouse. Play some of the best courses in the world with our state-of-the-art golf simulators. Upgrade your gear with the top brands at our pro shop, or host a stunning wedding, event, or conference inside one of our beautiful ballrooms. Learn all this and more at monthill.ca. We can't wait to see you.
Back here in the bottom of the first inning now at the Peter Hallman Memorial. We're actually, Joe, at the Peter Hallman Ball Yard. Blair Sedford, Joe Todd on Softball Premier TV. If you're just getting in with us at about 7:07 p.m. Top of the first inning, Shane Boland, a leadoff single, a strikeout, a pop-up, and a fly ball. That was it for the Chiefs in the top of the first. We'll go to the home half with the Aussie Steelers coming to the plate. James Todhunter will lead things off. He'll be followed by Matthew Harrell. Marshall Cronk, the designated player in the 3 spot. Joss McGovern hits 4. Matthew Wickham in the 5 spot. Jack Burt, 6. Ryan King hits 7. Jared Bradbury, 8. And Kynan Molander in the 9 spot for the Steelers. James Todd Hunter, Joe Todd, very familiar with this ballpark. I'll take you back to when he played for the Hill United Chiefs here, I want to say circa 2014. And back then, as he does now, wears the number 99. And, of course, here in Canada, that number's a little sacred.
Yes.
And he was hearing it from a pretty partisan crowd that night because I believe they were playing the Kitchener-Hallman Twins that particular game.
That would have been kind of non-religious at the time.
Well, he was hearing it pretty good and then hit the next pitch about 400 feet to straightaway left field. That was the last time James Todd Hunter ever heard about wearing 99.
Yes.
So welcome back, James. Good to see you. There are still some of the Chiefs from your days. Not a lot. There's been some turnover on this team. Down to Nick Shales. He's one of the guys who would have been here back then. And still rock solid as ever at third base is Nick Shales and throws out countryman James Todd Hunter.
Great range by Shales over that third base corner. Plays well off the line, 3 or 4 feet off the line, just because he's got so much range going both ways.
Yeah, I think you'll find, Joe, he's even more than 3 or 4 feet at usual. He's probably closer to 10. You see him take a couple of steps to his left there. Came in a little bit, too, because Matthew Harrow at the plate can run and slap. One of the last few in the game that will still employ that offensive tactic. He's already got a dirty uniform.
Yeah,
he dove after that ball from Boland. Another one down at Nick Shales, and boy, you can't draw it up any prettier than that for Nick Shales. A nice high hop. He dove after that.
Nice clean bounce. Good step and throw.
And Marshall Cronk now to the plate. Marshall Cronk back in 2022. Joe, you and I will remember him for the stellar ISC World Tournament that he had, leading the Kitchener-Hallman Twins to the championship, winning the MVP that year. He followed that up with an MVP award at the World Cup as the Aussies winning in 2022 over Canada. Jack Besgrove helping the Aussies run the table in the playoff round.
Cronk had an amazing Saturday on that championship day.
We'll expect to see Marshall do some pitching here this weekend in addition to his designated player duties. He swings in this one, fouled off to the screen. In and out of the glove of Biondi. The Chiefs, Joe, are doing a really good job of bringing in young players in key spots. Bruno Matroni, of course, has been the longtime catcher for the organization much of the last 4 or 5 years. Josh McGovern was with the Chiefs the last 2, but he's gone over to the New York Gremlins as this one is up off the plate. Well, coming back, and it's not an official trade, although it kind of works out that way, was Blake Hunter, who's down at first. And Blake can do some catching, but Biondi is going to be the catcher of the future for this team.
Matroni's been really mentoring him along.
Chases a drop ball down in the dirt. A good pitch from Justin Schofield. Sets down the Steelers in order here. The bottom of the first inning. We're scoreless through 1 complete. Just underway. A pair of world champions on the field.
A dream catcher, inch by inch, we'll fight to make the lives of First Nations people in this community, this province, and on this continent better. I know we have a long way to go, but I'm proud to say as long as our people have a need, Dreamcatcher will be there for them.
Game change. Against me, that's a long shot. Cause the kind of wins all around the clock. Never doubt me, boy, I don't stop. Watch the game change. Watch the game change. Watch the game change. Watch the
Blue Crew coming back in for this game. On the plate, Ed Otterman from Kitchener, Ontario. On the bases, Kelly Murphy from St. Thomas, Ontario.
Couple local folks. Top-notch Blue Crew here, as we always have at the Ontario tournaments. Joe Todd, we are blessed with some of the best players in the game, some of the best sponsors, and just as important as any of that, some of the best officials.
Yes, totally agree. Do a great job every weekend. This is our third weekend we're seeing most of these guys.
Quentin Bruce at the plate. Quentin on Team Canada, and this is a great look, an early look at Jack Bestgrove for Quentin Bruce. Quentin had a pretty good weekend, I would say, last week, Joe. 2 home runs, 6 RBIs. That was all in one inning. How's that? A grand slam and a 2-run home run in the same inning for Quentin Bruce as the Chiefs exploded for 11 runs against Oswego in that particular game. They were an offensive juggernaut last week, Joe. As much as the pitching staff was maligned for what happened in Mitchell, they were dominant last weekend as well. Other than the Drillers, they were pretty much untouchable.
They came to play last weekend. They did a great job.
Just off the end of the bat, Bruce and Otterman looked like they were going to trade places there. Eddie was going to go into the box to hit, and Quentin maybe was going to go.
Well, I think Josh took one off the knee.
Did that hit Josh?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good job there by Ed Otterman to give him a bit of a break.
Josh in a different stance behind the plate.
Up and in to Quentin Bruce. We've seen the Aussie Steelers, Joe, often use the wristband with the number sequences for the pitching signals. Don't seem to be using that tonight. They may go to that, Joe, during night games. This one is fouled way back out of play.
What do you think would be the strategy behind Bestgrove? Think you're going to see him get all 7 innings, or just going to go once through the order and do some switching a lot?
Well, there's a lot of games to be played. Each of the teams in this division, Joe, has 4. There are 7 teams total in this division for the tournament, but everybody plays 4 games in for a strike, and Quentin Bruce just turns on a heel, and just the second strike out of the game here. 1 down in the second inning. Alan Pecker to the plate, the reigning ISC MVP. Jack Bestgrove, the 2-time now reigning top pitcher in the tournament, the Leroy Zimmerman Award winner.
Pecker with a really wide open stance. Not as deep in the box as the other guys. Pretty well everyone has been on the back line.
Well, Joe, let's recall about 8-9 months ago, and Alan Pecker, a day for the ages, including 2 for 3 off of Jack Bestgrove in the ISC championship game, 2 2-run home runs. He had, I thought, the longest home run of the tournament last weekend in Simcoe. Just crushed one into center right field, deep into the trees.
That went, the second fence into
Yeah,
the trees.
it's way
and
over
high
the
in the
second
trees.
fence. Yeah.
Probably ended up in Caledonia.
Chases the Drop ball on the outside corner, or off the outside corner. That's a great look at the Peter Hallman ball yard from behind home plate and out to what is called Diamond 2, but that's the third diamond behind center field here. And Pecker down on strikes. Bestgrove looks like he's finding the range, Joe, with these pitches that are just close enough to the corner to get guys to chase, but they're really not there.
A lot of chasing. They got to watch that release point in his hand because that ball's got a lot of movement.
Blake Hunter to the dish, teammates with Jack Bestgrove last year on the New York Gremlins, and would have caught Jack enough to know some tendencies, I'm sure. One of the things, Joe, that'll be different this time around at the World Cup is nobody's going to be seeing Jack Bestgrove for the first time. He's not sneaking up on anybody anymore. He's been on the circuit since 2023. Great pitch, a changeup buckled some knees. But there's no surprises this time around.
No, it should be a great tournament, though.
That
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's going to be phenomenal. There's no easy games. There's no games off in that 8-team World Cup.
I know I'll be tuning in.
You can join Kyle Smith and Chris Abbott for that on Game Time. Free plug for our good friends. Pretty consistent breeze, Joe, from center field out to right, going across the field. Hunter, half-hearted swing. Did he go around? And no, says Kelly Murphy. Two balls, two strikes on Blake Hunter. Had a notion, but holds back on the rise ball up and out of the zone. So run the count to full.
Good plate discipline by Hunter to lay off that pitch.
And that's just a little excuse me check swing foul. Good job by Hunter to just spoil that pitch.
Yeah, got to protect the plate with two strikes.
Yeah, not much you could do with that one either, was there?
No. I just have two strikes, so I don't think there's any balls at all. I think he's been pretty well chasing them.
No, pretty sure it's 3-2.
Oh, okay.
I saw Eddie put up the 3-2 sign earlier.
Okay. Scoreboard's not working, so game changer's a little behind.
That one is off the screen and makes its way back in. Jared Bradbury is the third baseman for the Steelers tonight, and no stranger to the North American scene. That one's going to go foul out of play, and they'll have a hard time finding that one to get back into play. That one was over in the truck parking lot, I think.
Yes.
There's a good look at Blake Hunter from Nanaimo in British Columbia. He's got to take a ferry or a plane just to get to the Vancouver airport. It's a commute for Blake to get out here every weekend. Change up. And right into the glove of Matt Harrow. So 1-2-3 inning. Another one for this particular game. World champion versus world champion. Joel, going to have to do some research to see how many times we've seen that in the past.
Jack Bestgrove with 35 pitches so far into 2 innings of work.
So I wonder, would the Chiefs have played? I'm sure the Chiefs have played Argentina somewhere along the line. After 2019, was Argentina over here then? I don't think they were.
I don't think so.
So, and would Australia? No. Black Sox. Would the Black Sox have played the Gremlins anywhere? In any of those years? Or the Black Sox and the Chiefs, 2014 in St. Catharines.
Oh, those exhibition games.
Yes. Well, at the tournament.
Oh, yeah.
At the Snapper Shootout that year. That's the last one.
Yep.
Where did our guy go?
No, where did our...
No, we need our guy here. Get the button going. Hit the button, Trevor. No, don't touch anything. We got video at least. Neither am I. That's the problem.
Yeah.
I need Luciano to tell me how to do this, because this happens too frequently.
Yeah.
Because where is he? Is he checking the camera or what? Do we have audio from down on the game site? Do you know? See, I don't even think we're getting audio from down there.
From that mic. Is there a mic down there?
Well, there's a camera down there, and usually cameras pick up sound.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody hits a home run, I'm going to be pissed. Here he comes. Man, he is sweating.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Second straight strikeout for Justin Schofield leading off the second inning here. Josh McGovern gets called out by Ed Otterman. That'll bring up Matthew Wickham. Joe, we saw Matthew Wickham with the Sydney Tropics out at Softball City last year at the ISC World Tournament. Sydney becoming the first international team to win a trophy at the ISC World Tournament. They were the ISC 2 champions. Matthew Wickham, the Bob McGowan ISC 2 MVP.
You had a great team that they put together for that program.
Harrison Peters led the way for Sydney Tropics. Ryan King, who is due up this inning if we get to the fourth batter of the inning, he was also on that team.
Wickham with a real wide stance at the plate. Late on that swing by Schofield.
Good to see Justin Schofield back out on the board, Joe. Last we saw Justin, it was Sunday afternoon in Simcoe, and it was an extraordinarily hot day. 36 degrees Celsius was the air temperature, but when you added in the humidity, it was 46, 47 degrees Celsius. That is extraordinarily hot. And when you're Justin Schofield and you're from Nova Scotia, you do not see anything like that. And he had to come out of the game, only lasted 15, 16 pitches. This one is way up in the air. Bradley Ezekiel comes in half a dozen steps to make the grab out in center field for second out of the inning. I talked to Justin on Monday. Game only and he said he had a pretty difficult night. Sunday night, but a couple of solid meals and plenty of fluids on Monday. He felt a lot better. Was out coaching that evening back home in Grand Prix in Nova Scotia. But a couple of people ran into some heat problems there. Dave Harrington, the home plate umpire, started that game, and he's here this weekend too. And that was a tough situation for him. He ended up coming out of the game as well. Just if you're not prepared for that heat and haven't got the right fluids in, it's tough.
It
It's
takes
dangerous.
a long time to regulate your body too afterwards. It's not just a 5-minute job. It's relax, calm down, let your blood pressure settle, and get the electrolytes back in your system. Sometimes water doesn't even cut it.
Swing and a miss here by Jack Burt. So, folks, you may have heard Joe and I talking what we thought was off air, but wasn't. And we did come up with a World Club Team champion playing the WBSC champion. This one is fouled out of play. And that was the New Zealand Black Sox, Joe, playing the Hill United Chiefs back in 2014 at the Snapper Shootout that year in St. Catharines, Ontario. The Chiefs finished that game as winners, too, if memory serves, although I'd want to go back and double-check that one. I know Thomas Anoka hit a big home run for the Black Sox that night, but I have a memory of the Chiefs maybe winning that one.
Lancaster Park.
Yeah, it was Lancaster Park in St. Catharines.
Like that park. Very nice.
I loved playing there. I played my junior ball there, as you know, and you've done a couple of games there
Yep.
over the years. We did a women's tournament there. We've done a couple of men's events there. Fouled down the left side. Too short for men's events these days.
Yeah.
But it was a fantastic ballpark in its day. Schofield and Biondi got to get on the same page here. Not sure Schofield likes the ball that he's got, although he's just leaning and chatting to Luciano. Who knew we'd have multiple Lucianos in the game? Luciano Lafrano is actually not here with us this week, folks. We've got Claudio, one of Luciano's fellow producers, is working with us here on Softball Premier this week. Luciano jumped on a plane yesterday to get down to Colombia. Some issues there with an event that he's executive producing, and he had to go down to troubleshoot that. Carol DeReste is with us. She is operating the camera that you are currently viewing. Foul at the plate. In addition to the Chiefs on the club team side, Joe, we've got the Bear Creek Express, the JDT Energy Squad, First Energy, and the Toronto Batmen. And from the national team sides, of course, the Aussie Steelers are here, the New Zealand Black Sox are here, and the Dominican Republic national team. Last night, New Zealand and the Dominican Republic hooked up in a real good one. I'm told, Joe, that game was flying along for the first 4 innings and then just ground to a halt. And we're going to stay on the air knowledgeably this time, this half inning. And, Joe, that one last night, 4 pitchers for each team. New Zealand got up 5-0. In the 6th, the Dominican came back and tied it at 5. And then on to the top of the 7th. And Riley Macchia, playing his 50th game for the New Zealand Black Sox, hit a solo shot out of here. And that was the difference. Pittarona came on to finish for the Black Sox. The Dominican got 2 guys aboard before Pitta struck out the side to end it. So a real wild ending between the Black Sox and the Dominican Republic. And I think just goes to show how competitive this upcoming World Cup event in Prince Albert in Saskatchewan is going to be. All of these teams are, I think, Joe, pretty much in the same category. There's nobody really, maybe Argentina, maybe, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Jack Bestgrove certainly is going to be the leader for the Aussies, but I don't think anybody is.
It's going to be a flip of the coin.
Yeah. I think Canada's got a real deep pitching staff with Sean Cleary, Justin Schofield, Devin McCullough, Ty Sebastian. They've got an experienced squad with a couple of younger players who are going to get their first taste out of it. Nick White, who's been smashing the ball for the Chiefs, he's going to be a feature player on Team Canada, I think primarily in a pinch running spot. But if somebody in the outfield, Joe, isn't hitting the ball, Nick White more than capable of coming on and helping out. Kyle Ezekiel, first pitch, swinging a little bleeder out to Harrow at second. And the quick toss to Todd Hunter. And just like that, 1 down.
Ezekiel good and aggressive with that bat. Wants to see that strike and going for it.
Well, way out in front. Looked like a changeup from Jack Bestgrove. Luciano Biondi steps in. Luciano hitting .400. And this guy, Joe, has plenty of speed. You could put he and Pecker and White into a foot race, and I'm not sure who's going to win. Maybe Nick White by a nose, but boy, it's going to be close between those 3.
Very fast runners, and they're quick out of the box, too.
Yeah, Biondi can play the small ball game. He's got a home run, can hit the ball in for a strike.
Matthew Harrell very shallow at second base.
Well, that's the slap defense, and you'll remember that. Nick Shales used to do that. Second baseman creeps in, third base a little bit, but first base stays back, and it becomes the second baseman's job to get anything to the pitcher's left. It's all academic here, however, with Biondi down on strikes. We'll go back to the top of the shop. Shane Boland.
4 strikeouts for Bestgrove, once through the order.
This is just Shane's 3rd tournament. Didn't participate in the Jack Grafmeyer event down in Wisconsin, but played in Mitchell, played in Simcoe last weekend, and of course he is now here in Kitchener. Yanked foul. Shane is yet to get on the home run board, which is a little bit surprising for Shane, and I'm sure that he's not enjoying the fact that he's got a goose egg in that particular column.
Just trying to get his timing down. Short, compact stance.
Generates so much power with his swing. So quick through the zone.
Very quick hands, nice level swing.
Had an opposite field single back in the first inning. That's the only hit for either side in this game.
Good plate discipline by Boland laying off that.
And dead ball foul at the plate. Anything out to left field, Joe, it's going to be a bit of a challenge for Molander out and left. The sun is coming down pretty much right in his eyes, but there's a two-hopper out to short. Ryan King handles that easily enough, and Jack Besgrove has set down now the last 9 straight. And Joe, I think we're in for a pitching duel.
Good economical inning there for Besgrove. Just 9 pitches.
Ryan King will lead things off. 7-8-9 for the Aussie Steelers. King, Jared Bradbury, and Kynan Molander for the Steelers. Kynan Molander, Joe Todd, a new name to me.
Yes.
Any background?
None at all.
Okay, well, you and I are in the same
Yeah.
boat then. Justin Schofield, Joe, more limited action than either Marco Diaz or Martin Gonzalez here for the Chiefs. Just a 2-1 record with 19 innings. But what always stands out for me with Schofield is the strikeouts.
Yes, 39 strikeouts coming in. 7 walks.
A little bit better than 2 strikeouts per inning for Justin Schofield on average. He's slightly behind that tonight through 2 innings. Ryan King was a member of the All-Tournament team last year in ISC 2 for the Sydney Tropics. They played a lot of ball in a very short period of time. They came up a couple of days before the World Tournament started last year in Surrey at Softball City and played a bunch of exhibition games against local teams. And then they went undefeated through ISC 2. They played Georgian Bay Giants twice in the winner's bracket final and then again in the championship game.
They had a lot of close games on Saturday.
They did, yeah.
3 games they played on Saturday.
Swing and a miss, chased upstairs did Ryan King. He goes down on strikes, and that's 3 of the last 4 from Justin Schofield. A lot of action down the right field line for the Chiefs as a couple of late arrivals. Edgar Pipolo Lopez and Tony Gonzalez just got here. They're out doing some short toss. And Marco Diaz is throwing underhand in the bullpen area as well for the Chiefs. Lenny Villavazzo is out there doing guard duty for the Chiefs. And, Joe, that might be all we see from Lenny here this weekend again.
Still hurt?
Well, he hurt that thumb pretty badly sliding into second base in Mitchell on a play, I want to say kind of midday on Saturday, if I remember right, but I might not have the timing exactly right. But it looked like he really bent that thumb backwards, and he doesn't seem to have the brace on like he did last week in Simcoe. Did not play at all last week in Simcoe, but he was getting some treatment, or at least in conversation with the trainer prior to the game here this evening.
Sure, it'll be loosening up soon. He'll be back in the lineup.
Well, you don't want to rush anything like that
No.
and then make it worse. And You know, they did the right thing with Alan Pecker last year, who was injured early and really didn't play again until the USA National Championship the week before the World Tournament. And even then, I mean, Pecker was sat on Friday night, and apparently it was a bit of a coin toss, and we all know what he ended up doing on Championship Saturday at the ISC. Shales got to hurry with the throw, and as always, right on the money over to Blake Hunter at first base, and they get Jared Bradbury.
Well, after this weekend, he'll probably has a couple weekends off, do they?
Well, they've got a couple of weekends off until the USA National Tournament,
In
but
Oklahoma City?
just about everybody on this team will be headed out to
WBFC.
the WBSC, and there's a 4-team event in Saskatoon with the USA, Japan, Australia, or New Zealand, one of these two. New Zealand, I think, and Canada in Saskatoon over next weekend, and then they're off to the World Cup, which starts on the 8th.
Great Albert, great facility.
But, I mean, you look around the infield here, and honestly, Kyle Ezekiel, Nick Shales might be the only two guys, and certainly there's no offense to those two, but I think they might be the only two not going from the Chiefs starting lineup right now. Kynan Molander at the plate. Just from the looks of it, Joe, a young ball player, and they've got some real good young ball players coming up through their system in Australia. There's a couple of guys that are playing here, I think, for the club teams still. I haven't seen Callum Bichel on the Aussie card, so I think he might still be playing for JDT.
Molander really choking up on the bat.
Well, half the Chiefs lineup thought they had him out on the swing. They were halfway to the dugout, and everybody had to retreat back to their position.
The guy in the white-blue shirt has the final say on that.
And it might have been the gal down the first baseline even on the appeal. But 2 balls, 2 strikes nonetheless. And chases after that one, undoubtedly. Strike 3, down goes Kynan Molander. Schofield picks up a pair of strikeouts, sandwiched around a ground ball. Scoreless between these two reigning world champions, just as you would expect, Joe Todd. A good old-fashioned pitcher's duel.
Great to see, too. Love it. Schofield with 5 strikeouts so far, went through the order. 39 pitches in his 3 innings of work. We probably get the lights on at the ballpark.
I think that's what that signal is
Yes.
for. Yeah. Not sure why he's signaling us, because there's nothing that you nor I can do about getting the lights on at the ballpark other than snapping our fingers and yelling Shazam.
Yeah.
And it didn't work.
No.
So, Eddie, we'll get somebody on it for you. I don't know who, but we'll get somebody on. You just saw Jeff Ellsworth in your frame momentarily down at the bottom left, making his way out to the third base batter's box. Again, Joe, we want to say congratulations to Jeff and his wife Amanda, expecting a baby girl later this year. Their first. Bradley Ezekiel back up to the plate, down on strikes, his first trip. Fouls this one straight back to the screen. Joe, last week in one of the games, I want to say it was Saturday evening against the Northeast Drillers, Brad was 0 for 2 early in the game. Struck out looking, struck out swinging, hit a double to the fence in his third at bat, and hit the fourth one out into the trees. You can't keep this guy down. In for a strike.
Got his regular over the head swing of the bat as he prepares. Just the timing mechanism for him.
Yeah, we talked about that last week with Peter Labardius, and I referenced back to one of the podcast appearances that Brad did. That one's laced foul down the right side, and then ricochets back in. And Brad talked about that, developing that as a young player. And to your exact point, Joe, it's just a timing mechanism. When you keep an eye on Brad, you see his hands come down to a more traditional position, but they're not there for very long. Just keep an eye on him here if we stay with that shot. Well, okay, this is even better. You can watch the hands come down there. And did he chase after that one? Yes, he did, says Kelly Murphy. And Brad Ezekiel down on strikes again.
Fifth strikeout for Besgrove here in the top of the fourth inning.
Nick Shales to the plate. Nick popped up to Matt Harrow.
Nick loves hitting that ball out just over the shortstop into center field area. Pulls a lot of ball, but right up the middle.
Well, he's going to have to get around on it a little quicker if he's going to do that
maybe
this time
it's
here.
A little different than what he might have faced, but he faced some pretty good pitching last weekend too.
Oh, he absolutely did and got his share of hits. If you can say he's cooled off, Joe, to a 410 average, but remember the start that Nick had. He was 11 for his first 13 with 5 home runs that first weekend. And even then, in his first at bat in the Mitchell tournament, I believe he hit a home run too. So he has been racking up the home runs for the Chiefs. Called strike 3 here, though. That's 3 of the last 4 by way of the strikeout for Besgrove. Six now in the game for the young left-hander. Hard to believe, Joe, with everything that Jack Besgrove has accomplished, he's still in his early 20s.
Yes. 23 or 24?
I think he's only 21 or 22. He's still eligible to play in the U23s that are coming up.
Oh.
He's chose not to for good reason. He's already won it. He doesn't need to go win it again. He's got his eyes on a much bigger prize, but has pitched all over the world at his tender age in North America, in South America. This one well hit. Forget about it. Bruno Matroni off the back fence. A line drive home run. Just stepping into this one and make it 1-0 for the Hill United Chiefs as Matroni, a 2-out solo shot, an absolute no-doubter. And there's the home run hat.
Good quick hands there by Matroni coming through in that pitch that caught too much of the plate. Catch it again now here on the replay. Outfielders move, but no need.
Yeah, Jack Burt just turned to watch that one go, and Bruno Matroni gets the Chiefs out in front. And this one, just the second hit of the game. Bruno's 3rd home run of the season. Quentin Bruce will try to follow up for Hill United. in for a strike.
Of the 6 strikeouts Besgrove's got, 4 are caught looking, so Hill United Chiefs have to get a little bit more aggressive, especially with 2 strikes.
Upstairs to Bruce, and they didn't have a lot of success off of Besgrove a couple of weeks ago in Mitchell on the short end of a 3-1 decision that afternoon. Although I guess it was into the evening by the time that game got going. It was scheduled for the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
All of the Dominican players, Joe, are right in behind home plate on the first base side, catching a glimpse of Besgrove. They would have seen Jack in Australia down at that qualifier in Mexico, which the Dominicans, to the surprise of many, came out on top. That one off the knee or the toe of Quentin Bruce. Got him in the box somewhere on the leg.
Well, it's good for them to just stay and watch the game, too. Pick up some tendencies that they might pick up from Besgrove.
Well, they'll be on this diamond next. Right back up the middle, off the glove of Besgrove, but out to center. And 2 straight 2-out hits by the Chiefs. Quentin Bruce follows up the home run with a single right back up the box. Alan Pecker to the plate.
Second time through the order for the Hill United Chiefs. Couple of hits picked up here in the top of the 4th inning.
Pecker gets around on this one, but
yes, just turned on it a little bit too quick.
Yeah, way out in front of it. Out into the concession area. On the move is Bruce. Throws just a little bit high. And Bruce slides in under the tag and then almost gets caught stepping off the bag. You can see he's under it there. He's already on the bag when the tag comes down in the midriff area. I don't know if we'll stay with it long enough. But there, he steps off the bag and wandered away.
I don't think a time was called.
No, time was not called. He had to hurry to get the foot back on the bag. Jeff Ellsworth is always aggressive with the runners that he's got, Joe, and he's got guys who are blessed with some speed, Bruce included.
Well, you love to see that. Put the runners in play.
Big cut by Pecker, comes up empty. Jack Besgrove racks up 3 strikeouts, but a long line drive home run off the bat of Bruno Matroni, and the Hill United Chiefs will take a 1-0 lead into the bottom of the 4th inning here on Softball Premier TV. Joe, brand new sponsor on Softball Premier TV. Let Us Love, a plant-based cafe down in Hamilton. Boy, you saw the lineups, and those bowls look pretty good, too. Could go for a lettuce bowl right about now. 7 strikeouts on the night, Joe Todd for Jack Besgrove, 5 for Justin Schofield. Schofield clean through the first 3 innings. He could play with just 4 guys out there because it's been him, Shales, and Bradley Ezekiel with just 1 fly ball. Everything else has gone to Nick Shales. This one is not coming back, though. Way back and gone. James Todhunter has tied this game just like that, Joe. Now, that reminds me a lot of that hit back in 2014 as he comes around to touch the plate for the Steelers. Boy, he got absolutely all of that. Deep left field.
Good way to get your team back into that game real quick. First pitch in the bottom of the 4th inning.
A no-doubter. You see that one way back into the trees and beyond off the bat of James Todhunter. Matthew Harrell to the plate. Ground out to Nick Shales. In for a strike.
Well, they do have the little scoreboard working at the bottom, at least with the score anyway.
Well, you see it out in the far right side of our behind the plate camera. When we come back to that shot in a minute, you're just looking at Matt Harrow there right now, but the large scoreboard not working, but yeah, they brought in a temporary one. There you see it just to the right of the main scoreboard. And a pair of 1s. 1 for each. Right down Broadway from Justin Schofield. Matthew Harrow can't get the bat off the shoulder, and that's the 6th now of the game for Schofield.
The designated player, number 26.
Marshall Cronk, he's hit a long home run or 2 in his day. One of the most imposing individuals at the plate, Joe, I got to think, when you're a pitcher out there on the board.
Very thick. Is that a good word? His upper body is just super strong.
Right on the outside corner from Schofield. It reminds me, Marshall Cronk reminds me of Mark McGuire, Jose Canseco. Just in the size, the bat really looks small in their hands.
Schofield just overthrew that a little bit. He's been working really hard this inning, throwing, picked up a notch, I think, especially after that home run.
Dialed it up, has he?
Yeah.
Well, Jeff Ellsworth has joined Marco Diaz down the line in right field. This one is short left. Bruce coming on. He'll make the catch out in front. Shane Boland pretty much at his side. Just off the end of the bat from Cronk. And you see Bruce. It's a long run for Quentin Bruce, but he gets there in plenty of time. 2 down in the inning, Josh McGovern. Up and away for ball 1. Josh and Jack Besgrove, Joe, play in the Japan League during their North American off-season. And last October, early November is when they have the championship tournament for the Japan League. They play in the spring, they take most of the summer off, and then they play again in the fall. And they went into extra innings. Bestgrove pitching a shutout. McGovern hit a 2-run home run in extras with the tiebreaker runner aboard, and that was the difference. They gave up 1 in the bottom, but their Japan team, which is the Dewa Act team, if I remember correctly, it's the same team that Andrew Kirkpatrick pitched for, and of course he obviously has brought Jack Bestgrove and Josh over with him.
Very much a corporate style league over there, right?
It is. They play on company teams as Schofield gets another caught looking here, Josh McGovern for the second time tonight. But we got ourselves a tie ball game. James Todd Hunter hits a moonshot. And we're tied at 1 through 4 complete. Bestgrove back out on the board. Stay with us here on Softball Premier TV. Blake Hunter will lead things off for the Hill United Chiefs, now top of the 5th. And Joe, this one's still, and I don't want to jinx this, but still moving along at a pretty good clip.
Yep. Both starting pitchers still in the game.
First pitch swinging, Blake Hunter snagged by Harrow, turns and throws, and that's a real nice defensive play. Matt Harrow going off to his right and almost behind the bag. Take a look at where he is here, Joe, when he gets to, well, that's Schofield ending the inning.
Yeah, great range by Harrow. Going at least 15 feet wide on that, going to his right.
Well, you can see where he is right now, and that's where he started, and all the way to behind the bag. Kyle Ezekiel to the plate. Kyle grounded out to Matt Harrow, his last trip as well. There's a little line shot right over the head of Ryan King at short, and Kyle Ezekiel aboard with a soft single.
Great when that number 8 guy can come through in your batting order. See if they play a little small ball here.
Given who's at the plate, I'm absolutely expecting some kind of bunt, maybe a drag bunt for a hit. Keep an eye on Harrow. Right now he's quite deep at second base, but you noted it the last time, Joe. He came way in front. Turns, squares, fouls this one straight back out of play. He was halfway out of the box.
Yeah.
Too much of a hurry there from Luciano Biondi.
Did not have his bat level either. He had the bat on an angle. That's why it popped up backwards, going behind the screen. You got to have that bat level. Got 2 hands on the bat.
Turns and squares again, jabs at it, and it was in and out of the glove of McGovern. Is he claiming foul ball?
No.
No? Well, I think Josh wants foul ball, but I don't think Eddie Otterman is calling it. He's now going to ask. Kelly put the stop sign up for Kyle Ezekiel. He wanted to go to third. It didn't look like a foul to me.
I didn't think so. See,
Bradbury is looking for a bit more of an explanation, and then here comes Jeff Goolagong, the ISC and ISFW BSC Hall of Famer. But Eddie Otterman says, I don't have a foul ball, Jeff. I checked and not. Be 0-2 on Biondi because he stabbed at it, but Kyle Ezekiel. So they get the job done. They advance the runner on a somewhat controversial fashion.
Guess it has to be credited to a pass ball.
Yeah, that would be a pass ball on the play, and Biondi trying to slap his way aboard, but down on strikes for the second time tonight. We'll go back to the top of the shop. Shane Boland, 1 for 2 with a single in the first, and now Kyle Ezekiel in scoring position, an opportunity, Joe, to break this 1-1 tie.
Shane loves these clutch positions with runners in scoring position.
That one is fouled back to the screen. No question about that one. A long look in from Jack Besgrove. Slowing things down a little bit here. No rush. And again, straight back to the screen from Boland.
Besgrove with 74 pitches so far in the game. We're in the top of the 5th inning.
Well, and Joe, he wants to shut this down right here because he's got 2 out, and you don't want to have to face Bradley Ezekiel with 1 or 2 runners aboard. Big spot here right now for Besgrove and the Steelers. Punched out to right, 2 steps in for Matthew Wickham, makes the grab, hard hit, but right at Matthew Wickham in right field off the bat of Shane Boland. He squared it up, Joe, but just unfortunate for Boland right at the fielder. Still tied. We'll go to the home half of the 5th. Steelers coming back up to the plate. And are we getting a pitching change or not? We'll find out. Stay with us.
Welcome to Mont Hill Golf and Country Club. With our beautiful 27-hole golf course open to the public, we work tirelessly to ensure your time with us is second to none. Well, here you'll be able to enjoy an incredible dining experience at our very own Big Pete's Steakhouse. Play some of the best courses in the world with our state-of-the-art golf simulators. Upgrade your gear with the top brands at our pro shop, or host a stunning wedding, event, or conference inside one of our beautiful ballrooms. Learn all this and more at monthill.ca. We can't wait to see you soon.
Now pitching for the Hill United Chiefs, number 7, Mario Diaz.
So we did indeed, Joe Todd, get a pitching change. There's Marco Diaz, the hard-throwing right-hander. And, Joe, I think this is who everybody wanted to see up front with Marco Diaz facing off against Jack Besgrove. We're going to get it at least for a half inning here in the 5th. We'll see how long Australia continues to go with Besgrove. But other than Kronk, Joe, I don't see a lot of other pitchers on their roster. They're playing with only 12 ball players here this evening, as again, they've got a couple of guys who will be joining them that are off still with club teams here in this event.
Yes. So it's kind of tough to play with a limited number of players. Kind of ties your hands up a bit.
Diaz had a real special recovery weekend last weekend. Was throwing hard, but the criticism, Joe, was that it really wasn't moving a whole lot 2 weeks ago in Mitchell. Certainly righted that ship last weekend in Simcoe. And comes in with some zip right away here to Matthew Wickham.
The first game, though, that they played, Bruno caught that game too, I believe, right? In Simcoe?
On the Friday night?
On the Friday night.
Yeah.
So I think they were probably doing a little workouts and practices over the week.
I would assume so. They're going to ask, and did Matthew Wickham go? No, says Kelly Murphy down there at first base. Zips this one in for a strike on the inside corner. They worked this side of the plate, Bruno and Marco, a lot on the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
That one gets away. But I think you're absolutely right, Joe. I think there are a lot of bullpen sessions in between the Mitchell qualifier and the Chiefs challenge.
I don't think there were a lot of idle hands that week.
Wickham can't catch up to that one from Marco Diaz as he comes in and is throwing gas.
The center fielder, number 36.
Quick word with Biondi. Jack Burt, who will play with, I believe it's JDT First Energy in the ISC play. In for a strike, and Diaz is not wasting any time, Joe. He's just come in and pouring strikes in. Good solid outing from Justin Schofield tonight, Joe Todd, and the Team Canada brass in the Hill United bench have got to be happy to see that.
Yes. Extremely pleased with the showing tonight so far.
Sets down Burt as well for his second straight strikeout.
Shortstop, number 14, Ryan Kine.
Ryan King to the plate.
Diaz with 2 strikeouts, but just throwing 8 pitches, so right around the plate.
And Ryan King, a bit of a feeble offering at strike one. Little tentative. If you're going to go after that, you got to go after it with intent.
Keep your mind made up.
Yeah. And zips this one in. Just off the inside corner. Diaz went down to Australia, Joe, and played in their national championship and actually beat Bestgrove in the national championship game, and that caused some consternation in the Australia softball community because it was perceived that the winning team had brought in, a ringer, an import, and they don't do that in softball Australia. Although I would note for the record, there have been a number of guys over the years who have gone down to softball Australia to play. Ty Sebastian amongst them. And I guess that one opened some eyes, put the cat amongst the pigeon, whatever phraseology you want to use there. But nonetheless, Marco Diaz collected an Australian national championship to add to his collection. He gets 3 up, 3 down, all by way of the strikeout here. A pretty efficient inning for Diaz in the bottom of the 5th. Still knotted at 1 between the world champions, this battle of the world champs here on Softball Premier TV.
Cause I'm trying to wins all around the clock. Never doubt me, boy, don't stop. Watch the game change. Watch the game change. Watch the game change. Watch the game change.
2-3-4 for the Hill United Chiefs here in the top of the 6th inning. Brad Ezekiel, Nick Shales, Bruno Matroni. Bruno's got the key hit for the Chiefs back in the 4th inning. A line drive, long solo home run for the designated player for the team in maroon tonight.
Brad Ezekiel got caught looking at 2/3 strikes, so he wants to redeem himself here at the plate.
Well, Joe, I talked about this earlier, and in one of the games last week, Bradley was in this exact position. He went on to hit a double and a home run, so he's got him just where he wants him, I think. 500 on the year coming into the tournament for Brad Ezekiel.
And he's not the top hitter. Nick White's the top hitter with 556.
Hard shot. Oh, nice extension there from Matthew Harrow. Made a couple of nice plays over there at second base for the Steelers. Watch this. Going to his left this time.
Good hard hit ball.
So one down for Shales. Thinking bunt. Bradbury took a couple of steps in and has a bit of a chuckle as he looks over to the bench. James Todd-Hunter.
Fairly deep.
He's having a conversation over there with John Hill saying, did you give him that sign? Because he's even with the bag at first, and I'm sure Nick has taken note of that. Chases the rise ball up and out of the zone for a strike. And that pitch really, Joe, has been the nemesis for Nick. He knows it. He'll talk about it. He has on the podcast. But at times, he can go get that pitch, too. And you go back to the 2022 World Cup when he hit the home run in the 6th inning, that's the pitch he went and got, was that rise ball up and out of the zone.
Pitch was probably in the shoulder, above the shoulders.
Well, this one is a similar spot, and he pops out to center fielder Jack Burt on this one. Tried to go get it, but you see him here go out after it, and it's up, you're right, at the shoulders.
The designated player number 28, Bruno Matroni.
So 2 down for Bruno Matroni.
Bruno's pulled him twice now. Flew out to the left fielder in the first and big home run in the 4th.
There's the changeup. We haven't seen a lot of the changeup tonight, have we?
No, I think 2, 3, the most.
Certainly haven't seen it in the last couple of innings. We did see it a bit early. I want to see those 2 or 3 that you're talking about came really early. And then he and Josh McGovern have put it away for the last few. But here with 2 out in the 6th, it makes a reappearance. He took something off of that one, too. So back-to-back changeups. That's
just a different pitch. Just kind of floated.
Yeah, very Cleary-esque. 2 straight changeups. Good cut there from Bruno Matroni. Right back to the screen. I think Bruno wants that pitch again. You can see the grimace on his face. He just missed it.
Yeah.
Called strike 3. Down go the Chiefs here in the 6th, the 1-2-3 inning. We'll go to the bottom of the half. Still tied at 1. Aussie Steelers coming back up to the plate.
Inning for the Hill United Chiefs. No runs, no hits, no players left on base.
Bottom of the 6th inning for the Aussie Steelers. Marco Diaz now in his 2nd inning of relief. 8-9 and then back to the top of the shop. Jared Bradbury, Kynan Molander, and then James Todd Hunter. Todd Hunter had the big home run in the bottom of the 4th inning to knot this game at 1. Matrone had the big hit for the Chiefs on the other side. Bradbury thought about putting down a bunt, had the infield in motion, but fouls it straight back.
Do have a score from Diamond 2, JDT First Energy, 2-0 lead over the Toronto Batmen after 2 innings.
Joe, we'll be back on the air tomorrow, 11 a.m. scheduled start time with the Chiefs taking on Bear Creek. It's a doubleheader for the Chiefs because at 1 they're scheduled to take on that very same JDT First Energy squad. And then come back with us 7 p.m. scheduled start time, the Chiefs and the New Zealand Black Sox. In for a strike, and something happened here with the batter because he went down in a heap. Whether he got
I don't know if
a shoulder spasm?
Yeah. I did not see him get.
Well, he certainly didn't get hit. He
No.
just went down.
I wonder if he overextended his shoulder.
Chiefs trainer is out here right away. Watch, it's Jared Bradbury again still at the plate, but and he's done something to his left shoulder. It's just crippled him on the swing. You can see him gripping at his left shoulder as he goes off the field. So wish Jared Bradbury well, their first game, and you don't want to see an injury.
No.
The left fielder, number 22, Kynan
Especially with
Molander.
just the 12 players available.
Well,
tonight.
yeah, especially here this evening. So Kynan Molander, 9-batter for the Aussie Steelers, and that's quite a tall task, Joe. Your first trip over to North America, you get Justin Schofield, your first at bat. He throws pretty hard, and then you get Marco Diaz, who throws even harder.
What did I sign up for?
Wow, quite the debut. Kynan, welcome to the ISC Big Leagues. Misses upstairs. And a good eye, Joe, to leave that pitch off to the outside corner. 2 balls, 1 strike to Molander, so not a bad hitting spot here for the youngster. And fouls that one right off at the plate, so he's on it, Joe. He's just got to square one up.
Yep.
2 balls, 2 strikes. The 9 batter in the order for the Aussie Steelers. Their debut game on this little swing through Ontario. They're here this weekend. Fouls this one straight back to the screen. They will be in Hickson, Ontario on Monday. Greater Metropolitan Hickson, the home of our good friend Kyle Smith, who I would point out, Joe Todd, is directly behind home plate with his young son Peyton. Getting an eyeful here of Diaz and Bestgrove and Schofield as down goes kind of Molander swinging. Then they'll play Brussels, the Tigers, on Canada Day. And it'll be interesting to see whether Ty Sebastian gets to pitch in that one for his hometown Brussels, whether the Canadian brass will want Ty pitching against a potential opponent just a few days later up at the World Cup. And I think they've got some dates lined up with the Sebringville Sting, too, do they not?
I think so, yes. I'm pretty sure they're playing almost every night next week.
We'll get the rest of the Steelers schedule for you here in just a moment.
I'm sure they're playing the Batman somewhere along the line.
I think they're playing the Batman up in Brussels that same night. That one is lifted out of play by Todd Hunter. Sorry, it's the Black Sox that are playing in. Well, it's down to Blake Hunter. He steps on the bag and retires James Todd Hunter. We'll pick up the Aussie Steelers schedule, and we'll get it right for you in a couple of seconds.
In the home half of the 6th inning for the Steelers, no runs, no hits.
Welcome to Mont Hill Golf and Country Club. With our beautiful 27-hole golf course open to the public, we work tirelessly to ensure your time with us is second to none. Well, here you'll be able to enjoy an incredible dining experience at our very own Big Pete's Steakhouse. Play some of the best courses in the world with our state-of-the-art golf simulators. Upgrade your gear with the top brands at our pro shop, or host a stunning wedding, event, or conference inside one of our beautiful ballrooms. Learn all this and more at monthill.ca. We can't wait to see you soon.
So, Joe, we've got the Aussie Steelers schedule here, so we can give you the right information because we were incorrect here about that June 30th game. In Hickson, it is the New Zealand Black Sox and the Dominican national team. That same night up in Milverton, the Steelers will take on the Toronto Batmen. On July 1st, Canada Day, it'll be the Aussie Steelers and the Dominican Republic. Again, that's in Milverton. On July 2nd at 7 and 9 p.m. at the Brussels Community Park, it'll be the Brussels Tigers and the Walton Brewers. And then on July 3rd, back in Milverton, it's the A.W. Millwrights and the Sebringville Sting. So pretty good schedule for the Aussie Steelers. 4 straight nights. They'll play 6 games in total. And, Joe, a pitching change here for the Aussie Steelers.
Now pitching for Australia, Steelers, number 30, Jeremy Garland. Leading off the top of the 7th for the Chiefs.
I believe that is Jeremy Garland. They actually didn't put numbers beside the substitutes on their lineup card here, but I believe that's Jeremy Garland.
Jack Bestgrove and Josh McGovern also did a pitching and a catching clinic in Hickson today for a lot of local kids that were willing to come to the park. It started at 2 different sessions. It's based on age group.
How many kids?
I haven't heard, but I know quite a few kids that signed up.
That's great to hear. And,
Yeah.
and good on those guys, too, for taking the time out of their personal schedule and doing some opportunities to give back to the game. I know Jack Bestgrove took part in the pitching clinic that was held prior to the start of the ISC World Tournament last year in Surrey. And great to see. And I know he does private virtual lessons, too. Little plug for Jack Bestgrove. You want to learn from somebody, Joe. The best in the world is a pretty good guy to take some lessons from. The right-hander, Jeremy Garland, facing Quentin Bruce, Alan Pecker, Blake Hunter. That's a pretty imposing threesome to start with.
Quentin Bruce really turns in that back left foot at the plate.
Takes ball 4, just down and away. A good eye by Quentin Bruce. Singled and stole a base. That was back in the 4th, but didn't get any further. Alan Pecker can play the small ball game very well. Pops this one up. That was not his best effort. The curse of the broadcasters continues. Sorry, Alan. Trying to run through, and you saw, Joe, that he stabbed at it there, and you talked about it earlier. You want to be nice and steady with the bats, hold it level, and bring it down to the ball. When you
bring it
stab
down,
at it, you're going to pop it up.
When the bat is level, you can take it up or down, but you got to keep it level.
In for a strike to Blake Hunter. Blake thought he had a base hit back in the 5th and stolen away from him by Matthew Harrow, who made a fine play out behind the bag. On this side of the bag, they toss to 2 for 1. Back to first. Safe is Blake Hunter. Ryan King tosses to Harrow to erase Quentin Bruce.
That was close at first base, too. Good wheels by Hunter getting down that line.
On the second hop here, comes up on King, but he keeps with it and makes a nice turn. Harrow quick hands to first, but Blake Hunter still runs very well, as you said. So he's aboard on the fielder's choice. 2 down, we'll go to Kyle Ezekiel. First pitch, and it's a good thing there's a fence in front of the Hill United Chiefs dugout. He would have had a strike in 10-pin bowling with all the guys that would have been diving out of the way of that.
Sure how many guys had blinked back there anyway.
This one skips in from Garland. Joe, just little things that you watch on over the years. Kyle Ezekiel always shoots out the arms like he's adjusting the sleeve or something here as he gets set. There it is. One more. Yeah.
4.
Chases, and a good changeup shown there by Jeremy Garland, the right-hander. Off the plate for a ball. Two down here, top of the 7th inning. The go-ahead run is out at first in the form of Blake Hunter. Little chopper on the infield, in and out of the glove of Garland, but lots of time to spin and toss underhand to first to get Kyle Ezekiel. We'll go to the bottom of the 7th. Aussie Steelers have a chance to walk it off. Joe, I was talking to a number of observers last week at the Chiefs Challenge in Simcoe, and I was just struck me as I was watching Marco Diaz. You see him here doing a little bit of landscaping. Just watching him take his warm-up pitches. He is so smooth in his delivery. And for young pitchers who are out there watching, his ball gets on you so quick. He doesn't look like he's throwing 85, 86, but it's on you so quick, and he is so smooth coming
Very
off
fluid
the board.
motion. Very fluid motion.
Perfect description. Fluid. Love it. Matthew Harrell, Marshall Cronk, Josh McGovern. 2, 3, 4. And, Joe, if you're going to close down the Steelers, try to win this one in extra innings for the Chiefs, you've got to go through the top of their lineup here to do it. There's Jeff Goolagong, who spent a fair bit of time on this diamond playing third base for the Hallman Twins, or the River Shark Twins even, back in the day. Hit a lot of home runs, went on to have some really good years with the New York Gremlins. Chopper on the infield, in and out of the glove of Kyle Ezekiel. He was going to have to hurry, Joe, because Harrell runs well, and maybe it was the thought that he was going to have to hurry that he dropped it on the transfer.
I think he might have cheated a bit. See if he's taking a peek.
Yeah, lost it on the transfer. E4, Matthew Harrell, game-winning run aboard on an error. Marshall Cronk to the plate. I could just tell that was a strike from the sound of it.
Sounded like a strike.
It sounded like a
Right,
strike.
yeah,
Yeah, I've heard that before, too.
Yeah, that's an umpire's call.
You better not say that too loud, because we're surrounded by the umpires here this weekend. Jeff Goolagong spent some time with the Farm Tavern.
I wonder if Marshall Cronk has ever bunted.
In his life, maybe once.
In minor ball.
Maybe once when he was... Well, I bet you Marshall Cronk has been just about this size his whole life. You know, when he was probably 3 years old, he was close to this size already. Nearly gave up second base there. That's a good play by Biondi to go up and go get that. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Cronk. Marco Diaz with a bit of work to do to keep this one knotted. Misses inside. Let's make the count full.
Martin Gonzalez getting some warm-up pitches down the right field line.
Gonzalez named the top pitcher last weekend at the Chiefs Challenge. Called strike 3 on the outside corner. Cronk. A little bat flip and make his way back to the dugout. Sixth strikeout of the game for Marco Diaz. Into now his third inning of relief. Josh McGovern. Biondi wanted to come up throwing there. Harrell was only 2 steps off the bag. Good cut, fouled it off. McGovern obviously would have seen a lot of Diaz doing catching duty and otherwise with the Chiefs last season.
Biondi took it right off the hand.
Yeah, those do not feel good, and McGovern can certainly empathize with that one. Diaz comes in at 4-2, Joe. 31 1/3 innings pitched. He's appeared in 10 games, 5 starts. 31 1/3 and 53 strikeouts for the hard-throwing right-hander. Called strike 3. No opportunity for that runner to advance because first base is occupied, so even though it was dropped, it doesn't matter. That's 2 straight looking, too, Joe.
Yes. Just have to get a little more aggressive, especially with the potential winning run at first base.
Matthew Wickham. All the weight, Joe, is on that back right leg in Matthew's stance. A lot of momentum to come forward. As you noted earlier, that real wide stance, too. Mm-hmm. In for a strike. Because he hardly takes a step at all.
Yeah, he's got to have a lot of torque out of your body, out of your torso.
Fouled it straight back. Real nice young man, Matthew Wickham. I talked to him a couple of times last year out in Surrey, and we had a little bit of email correspondence for prep for the ISC guide. And wouldn't say I know him whatsoever, just my dealings with him. Real nice young man. Mm-hmm. Good eye there to not chase upstairs.
He had a lot of big hits in Surrey.
One ball, 2 strikes, and make it 2-2. Change up outside. And a couple of runners aboard here, Joe. Not making it easy. Marco Diaz keeping it interesting.
First full count that Marco Diaz went to since he's been in the game in 3 innings.
Well, he didn't miss by much with that pitch, but nobody was protesting either, so clearly it was ball 4. And an opportunity for young Jack Burt to give the Aussie Steelers a win in their North American debut on this pre-World Cup tour. And fouls that one straight off.
Pretty late on that swing. It's got to be. I think I'd be moving Alan Pecker in. Playing pretty deep.
In for a strike, so Diaz a pitch away from getting out of this little mini jam here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Waste pitch up and out of the zone.
One ball, 2 strikes.
And run at 2-2. Burt has been down on strikes in both of his appearances, one against Schofield and then more recently against Diaz, as Marco struck out the side as he came on in the 5th. And gets him again here to end the 7th inning. The Steelers strand 2. The Chiefs will come to the plate. We'll go to extras here at the Peter Hallman Memorial. And Joe, I'm looking at those salad bowls from Lettuce Love, and I'm thinking it might be worth the drive down to Hamilton.
Yes.
Those look very tasty. You been to Lettuce Love in Hamilton?
I have not.
You have not? Okay. You haven't either. Umpire George LeMaitre off to our right, a Hamiltonian. Doesn't have time to go to restaurants because he's always at the ballpark.
Yeah.
So Jack, I don't know why I said Jack there. Joe, you're Joe.
Yeah.
We're going to go to extra innings. And that's Nick White substituting for Kyle Ezekiel. And that's a good trade because White runs like a frightened deer. And he is the international tiebreaker runner. Stabbing at it again is Biondi. White is going to make Matthew Harrell come all the way over to second base before he retreats. Not a bad thing. Get guys running around, tire them out a little bit.
Get the infield moving. You got to execute this.
Yeah, you need, at the top of the inning, you need to move that runner over. And stabs at it again, and a little frustration from Luciano Biondi because he's
especially as the visiting team.
Not getting the bat on the ball. That one is lifted foul, up and out of play, and people are scattering as that one falls into the stands in behind the dish. Here you get a good look at Luciano Biondi, young man from Argentina, in his second season with the Chiefs. The catcher heir apparent. Tries to slap at it again, and ouch! A couple of swipes show and taps on the helmet. Not happy with the strikeout.
First strikeout for Garland since he come in the game.
Well, Shane Boland. Brad Ezekiel will have an opportunity here to try and drive in Nick White. And honestly, Joe, if you're Nick White, you're in scoring position.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
I'm going to assume that unless it's drilled right at any of the outfielders, he's going to get the wave from Ellsworth. In for a strike at the top of the zone. Matthew Wickham's got a pretty good arm out in right field. Burt and Molander are a mystery to me, Joe. We will find out. A little bit of a change-up, but just off the plate.
I think I'd try and ride one on his hands, try and keep that ball in the infield.
Well, that's pretty much where that one was, and fouled straight down. Garland takes time and steps back off the board. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Shane Boland. Nick White's the international tiebreaker runner out at second base. 1 down here in the inning. Top of the 8th. And can't get Boland to chase after that one. Run the count to 2-2. Oh, that's off the glove of McGovern, and that is a free bag for Nick White. Don't know if that wasn't the pitch he was expecting. Josh is normally pretty sure-handed back there, but that kicked away from him.
2-2 count to Boland.
Oh, it's in and out of the glove of Bradbury. The long throw and out at first. Boy, a nice recovery. It's not Bradbury over there, is it now? It's Ethan Field, I think, who's come on. Yeah, Ethan Field has come on, and there you see how close that was at first base. So good play to get Shane Boland. They keep Nick White at third, and we'll have conversation here as Josh McGovern goes out to talk with Jeremy Garland. Get our picture back in a second for you. There you are. So 2 down, Bradley Ezekiel, who's had a tough night at the plate. Opportunity to give the Chiefs the lead with a base hit. And in for a strike 1 from Jeremy Garland.
Ezekiel leads the team with RBIs, 17 so far in the 4 tournaments he's played in.
Picked up a lot of them last weekend. Waved at the changeup there from Jeremy Garland. And very quickly, Joe, 0-2 count to Brad Ezekiel. They turned and looked at Nick White. Didn't have to. There was 2 out in the inning at the easy toss over to the bag. They get Brad Ezekiel. You almost expect just Brad Ezekiel to come through there, and I'm almost in shock that he's 0 for 4 tonight.
Yes.
Well, we'll go to the home half again with the Aussie Steelers. An opportunity here to steal one, tied at 1.
Cause I'm trying to wins all around the clock. Never doubt me, boy, don't stop. Watch the game change. Watch the game change. Watch the game change. Watch the game change.
Starting at second base, number 36, Jack Burt. At the plate, shortstop, number 14, Ryan Hallman.
Pipolo Lopez, who is on defensively here. A couple of changes for the Chiefs. Lopez goes in at first base, and Tony Gonzalez back to wearing his usual number 2, Joe, as he was wearing 23 last week. But he goes in at second base for the Chiefs. Jack Burt is the runner out at second base for the Aussie Steelers.
If I see one more bad bunt player, I'm going to have bunting school at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Well, you let me know how that goes.
Okay.
Because I will be sleeping in.
Okay.
You're going to be up early?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's fine.
We drove separately.
Be out here with your with your broomsticks and your ping pong balls.
Yeah. It's a major part of the game.
Ed Otterman's going to storm out, or it looked like he was going to storm out to have a word with Marco Diaz, and now he's going to go back to the plate. I think he thought Biondi was going to go with him, but Ed was making the trip by himself because Luciano Biondi said, "No, I'm good, thanks." And this one to the screen, and similar to what happened in the top of the inning, here in the bottom, the Chiefs give away a free base. And they're going to have to do this somewhat the hard way, Joe.
Yes, especially with none out right now.
Well,
So
one out.
Well, there is one, sorry.
Field, the batter, he came on after Jared Bradbury injured his shoulder on a strikeout in the 6th inning. The bunt pop up to Lopez. That was the first pitch.
Yeah.
Had a notion to chase that one, but held back. The Chiefs' infield are all in tight. Gonzalez and Shane Boland well in front of the baselines at second and short, respectively. Shales is well off the line, as he always is, but in a couple of steps, and called strike 3 to Ethan Field. That's a big out for Marco Diaz and the Chiefs here in the 8th.
Died strikeout for Diaz in his 4 innings of work.
And the youngster, Kynan Mollander, down on strikes twice tonight and late on this one. Fair to say, Joe, right now he just looks a little overmatched.
Yes.
Great opportunity for a guy like Kynan Mollander to get some experience here, to see the best in the world. He fouls this one straight back to the screen, but You know, a guy like Callum Bichelle and some others are likely going to be in the lineup come crunch time in Prince Albert.
Yes. Oh, and they're really choking up too. Probably got a good 2 inches on the end of the bat open.
To the screen and trying to get in and out at the plate. That was some aggressive base running there from Jack Burt. A handy bounce off the screen here for Biondi. You see it come right back to him and then just turns and gets the tag-ish on Jack Burt.
I would have taken that chance, especially with the bottom number 9 batter.
And I have completed for two, the last title. The period, left on it. The time at one, no, two, done. Starting on second base for the Chiefs, number 11, Brad Episode. Leading off the third baseman, number 27, Nick Gale.
So Joe Todd, a bang-bang play at the plate ends the 8th inning. We'll go to the 9th now for Jeremy Garland, and he is going to face Nick Shales, Bruno Matroni, Quentin Bruce, 3, 4, 5 in the Chiefs lineup.
Tough part.
Bradley Ezekiel, the base runner here in the top of the 9th. Shales watches this one sail to the screen and does the job for him to advance the runner.
No big situation here for Hill United Chiefs.
So, do you walk the bases loaded here and take your chances and try and get a force? Because
I don't right now. I try to get it out. Infield is very compressed.
yeah, the infield's tight. The outfield are even in a couple of steps too. Oh, Burt kicks it, or not Burt, Garland rather, kicks it, stumbles, falls, but kept it on the infield.
Yeah. Keep that run from scoring.
And that was the important part.
Yeah. You don't want to throw that ball in that situation.
No, you don't want to throw that ball anywhere. There, I got to check the ankles there if I'm, yeah. You can see him stretching that out a little bit. So Shales aboard on the error. And the guy responsible for the Chiefs' only run is Bruno Matroni coming to the plate. And now, Joe, do you walk Bruno to go get a force?
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm completely in agreement. But, boy, if you're Australia, you've already lost Jared Bradbury here, the first game of the tour, and now Garland is a little wobbly out there.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't want to lose two guys
No.
on the opening night of the tour. Boy, oh boy. That would be a tough break.
Now batting the designated player, number
Happened last year to the New Zealand Black Sox in the it was last year. At the qualifier, Jerome Remeke got hit by a pitch from Marco Diaz, broke his forearm,
Yeah.
and he was done for the year. So these things can and do happen. Pitching to Bruno Matroni.
I can't believe it was just doing an automatic walk.
fouls this one off. Good hands over there by Jeff Ellsworth. Yeah, I'm a little surprised here too, but I guess, you know what? At the end of the day, it's an exhibition game in a sense for the Steelers, and you need to see how your players are going to react in these types of situations.
Bruno's had 2 balls to the outfield in this game so far. Flew out the left fielder back in the first inning, and the long deep home run in the 4th.
Well, anything deep enough will easily score Bradley Ezekiel. Like at regulation depth, he's going to score on a fly ball. Just misses inside to Bruno Matroni.
Good location there by Garland.
Runners on the corners here, but it's the run out at third base. It's the only one that the Chiefs would like right here, and up to second base goes Shales. Ezekiel had a thought about it, but
No.
with nobody out, why risk it?
Yeah.
You've got your RBI guys coming up with Matroni, with Bruce, with Pecker. You don't need to try and force it here.
No. Probably the harness put on there by Ellsworth that slow him down.
Good play by the shortstop. Back to first
Good
and
God.
safe at first. That's a real good arm over there by Ryan King, but running well still for a catcher is Bruno Matroni. He came way in the hole. Look where he is, and he runs Ezekiel back to the bag and still almost gets him.
Yes, very good throw.
Boy, that's a real good play there by Ryan King.
Because he had to cross the throw with his body, too.
Yeah, came right across
His
his
feet
body.
were not planted.
So now we got the bases loaded, Joe. It did it the hard way. And Quentin Bruce, an opportunity to put the Chiefs out in front here. Top of the 9th inning in this battle of world champions. Lays foul out of play. It's like the old wrestling days, Joe, where you get Ric Flair come into your territory and fight Hulk Hogan or something like that. Battle of the World Champions. And yes, I just dated myself massively with that reference. Change up off the outside corner.
I think it's 1-1.
Chopper on the infield, come to the plate, and they get Ezekiel on the force. He and McGovern teammates for the last couple of years. Nice big hop. That's what you would love if you're Matthew Harrell. Makes an easy throw to the plate. So 1 out, still bases loaded. And Alan Pecker in for a strike.
At the plate, right fielder number 59, Alan Pecker.
Pecker with a .355 batting average, coming into the game with 9 RBIs.
Couple of strikeouts and a pop-up on the bunt attempt. Had a notion to go after that, Joe, but was able to hold back. Nick Shales, the runner, down at third now. Still runs well.
Good plate discipline by Pecker to lay off that pitch. Australia infield compressed. Playing right on the line.
Chopper again, but they're not going to get him at the plate. The only play for King on that little slow hopper was to go to first to get Pecker. So the Chiefs take the lead here in the top of the ninth. They get Pecker at the bag, but an RBI ground out. And a 2-1 lead now for Hill United.
First baseman number 9, Piccolo Lopez.
Edgar Lopez on a relief of Blake Hunter. Pretty lofty 452 batting average, Joe. A triple, which we were astonished by last week. This one is laced, but that's going to go foul down the right side. Still waiting on his first home run, but 8 RBIs for Edgar. And he has played an important role in a couple of big wins for the Chiefs over the Northeast Drillers last week in the Chiefs Challenge, both on Saturday night in the final round robin game and then again in the championship.
Very intimidating stature at that plate.
Long swing from Lopez. He's always had that real long swing. And when he gets into it, it goes.
You don't want to bring that ball up in the letters. You want to keep that ball down by the knees.
Fouls this one off at the plate, too. He's always got good plate coverage, does Lopez.
Yeah, he doesn't stand close to the plate, but he's got a good long swing. Tries to cover that bat. That bat stays fairly active in the strike zone.
On the infield, out to Harrow. He'll turn and flip to the bag for the final out of the inning. But the Chiefs take the lead on an RBI groundout by Alan Pecker here in the top of the ninth. We'll go to the home half. The Chiefs need 3 outs to win.
Welcome to Mont Hill Golf and Country Club. With our beautiful 27-hole golf course open to the public, we work tirelessly to ensure your time with us is second to none. Well, here you'll be able to enjoy an incredible dining experience at our very own Big Pete's Steakhouse. Play some of the best courses in the world with our state-of-the-art golf simulators. Upgrade your gear with the top brands at our pro shop, or host a stunning wedding, event, or conference inside one of our beautiful ballrooms. Learn all this and more at monthill.ca. We can't wait to see you soon.
Joe, one of the byproducts of that play at the plate that ended the 8th was that Australia is going to start with their 9 batter again, Kynan Molander, and then the top of the shop. It'll be Ethan Field, who is the 8 batter. He'll be the tiebreaker runner here for the Steelers in the bottom of the 9th. Molander, then back to the top for Todd Hunter and Matthew Harrow. They got to score 1 to tie, 2 to win for the Steelers. Nick Shales practically playing at the plate. And it's put down, and it's a beauty. Nobody is at the bag, and Molander aboard with a base hit. Tony Gonzalez caught in no man's land. And a beautiful bunt, Joe Todd. You don't have to give bunting lessons because Kyle Molander is going to take over for you. Look at this.
Well executed. Nice bat. Level right in the zone.
So the 9 guy does his job. Moves the runner up. Field to third base. And James Todd Hunter with an opportunity to tie the game. And importantly, Joe, too, absent a double play here, you get an opportunity to bring Marshall Kronk to the plate this inning as well. Inside, and Molander, who's got some speed, Joe, steals it easy. It was in and out of the glove of Biondi, but I don't think they were going to get him. He's off like a shot.
Very good wheels there on that replay.
So now the game-tying and game-winning runs, Joe, are both in scoring position. And that's a foul ball at the plate. Off the bat, a Todd Hunter didn't mean to offer at it, and he's laughing about, can't believe I fouled that pitch off. Todd Hunter, a long moonshot of a home run back in the 4th inning. He's responsible for the only Steelers run of the game so far. Chases after that one. Half-hearted swing.
Yeah, I need better plate discipline on that. Good pitch by Diaz.
Well, if you're going to go after it, go after it.
Yeah.
Don't try to flick the wrists. Holds back here. Two balls, 2 strikes to James Todd Hunter.
So now that the potential winning run is at first base, why not set up the 4 split?
Well, a couple of curious decisions here in the 9th inning on both sides.
Yeah.
I think the fact that they had 2 strikes here probably makes sense to go after them. But this one is lofted out to right in between. Ezekiel, good strong throw, but it's up the line and tie ball game. James Todd Hunter, a sacrifice fly to left center field. Bradley Ezekiel took charge.
Good arm.
But the throw is just up the line enough to pull Biondi away from the play at the plate.
Second baseman number 34.
Olander advancing down to third base.
So the game-winning run now, Joe Todd, just 60 feet away. Matthew Harrow reached on an error in the 7th. Chiefs infield is in again. And Diaz misses off the plate. To the corner for a called strike. And this Molander kid, Joe, runs very well. If somebody's got to go move out of position for a ball, if they've got to go chase it down on the infield 3-4 steps, he's going to score.
Hill United Chiefs.
They're way in,
way in now.
But if they got to go get one, he'll score. That one's fouled back to the screen. Like a Shane or Tony, if they've got to go left or right,
side.
I don't know that they're going to get this kid.
Yeah.
Really need a strikeout here from Marco Diaz. And gets it as
Big
can't
strikeout.
catch up with the gas. Matthew Harrow down on strikes.
71 pitches for Diaz so far in the game.
Well, none bigger than that one. And Jeff Ellsworth is going to come out and give his ace a bit of a breather. And do you put Kronk on and go after McGovern?
Yes, because McGovern struck out 3 times in this game so far.
He's had a rough night.
And
Kronk twice.
Kronk put the ball in play. Well, Kronk had a deep fly ball to left field.
He did, but he's also been down on strikes twice.
and only once to Diaz.
Well, they've made the decision to put him on because Marshall Kronk is taking off the protective equipment and is trotting down to first base. I wondered if that was partially what the visit was about, Joe, just to take the temperature of the infield and see how they felt about going after McGovern versus Kronk.
Designated player number 26, Marshall Trump.
So why not walk McGovern?
Well, you've got 2 out and a force at first, or second.
Make it easy on your infielders.
I hear you. Upstairs to McGovern, the former chief. Chiefs took the lead in the top of the 9th. Australia has tied it here in the bottom and threatening with 2 down. Out of the glove of Beyonde, that's going to be the ball game. Molander scores easy, and the Aussie Steelers steal one from Hill United here at the Peter Hallman Memorial on opening Friday night.
Great opening game there. I think the big thing that come back to haunt the Hill United player would be the runners that they left on base in that top of that inning.
Yeah, without a doubt. They had the bases loaded there. They scored 1, but that was it. A missed opportunity for the Chiefs in the top. Australia takes advantage of their opportunities in the bottom. A come from behind 3-2 win for the Steelers in this battle of world champions. Joe, come back with us tomorrow at 11 a.m. Scheduled start time for the Chiefs. They're taking on JDT Energy and Bear Creek Express in a doubleheader. And then they'll face the New Zealand Black Sox. Scheduled start time in that one is 7 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow evening.
Great game tonight. Expect the same tomorrow.
You bet. Hill United Chiefs coverage here on Softball Premier TV. For Joe Todd, Blair Setford, thanks for joining us.
Welcome to Mont Hill Golf and Country Club. With our beautiful 27-hole golf course open to the public, we work tirelessly to ensure your time with us is second to none. Well, here you'll be able to enjoy an incredible dining experience at our very own Big Pete's Steakhouse. Play some of the best courses in the world with our state-of-the-art golf simulators. Upgrade your gear with the top brands at our pro shop, or host a stunning wedding, event, or conference inside one of our beautiful ballrooms. Learn all this and more at monthill.ca. We can't wait to see you soon.
Lightning. Scott.
Oh, okay.
How do you say lightning in Spanish? Lámparas. Lámparas? I don't know. Relámpago.
Ah, okay. Sí, ya. Sí, lightning, la de luz.